Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to be looking at a rare, really severe, and pretty fascinating genetic condition called Danon disease. It's a medical puzzle that starts at the tiniest cellular level, but has absolutely devastating consequences for the whole body.
Just let that sink in for a second. Some of the largest hearts ever described. That one sentence from a major cardiology journal tells you almost everything you need to know about the kind of severity we're talking about here. It really sets the stage for what is a profound biological mystery.
So, let's start our investigation. How did we even come to understand this devastating condition, and what is it that makes it so uniquely challenging?
The story really kicks off back in 1981. A doctor named Maurice Danon documented this mysterious syndrome. But it took another 20 years, all the way to 2001, for scientists to finally pinpoint this single genetic culprit, a gene called LAMP2. And today, it's known for what it is, one of the most severe inherited heart muscle diseases out there.
And this, right here, is why understanding it is so incredibly urgent. For males with the condition, the reality is just stark. Many are facing life-threatening heart failure or even the need for a heart transplant before they're even 30. So this isn't just some scientific curiosity, it's a genuine race against time.
To really get what's going on, we have to zoom in. Way in, down to the microscopic level to unmask the genetic culprit behind all this damage.
Okay, so think of your cells like tiny, bustling cities. To keep things running smoothly, they have this critical recycling and waste disposal program. It's called autophagy. Now, the manager of this entire operation is a protein made by the LAMP2 gene. But in Danon disease, that gene is broken. The manager is just gone. So what happens? All the cellular trash, we're talking old proteins, busted mitochondria, it just piles up and up, creating this toxic buildup that wrecks the cell from the inside out. So it all comes down to this one gene, LAMP2. And here is a huge piece of the puzzle. It's located on the X chromosome. Now remember that detail. It's a vital clue that helps explain why the disease looks so completely different in males and females. We're going to come right back to that. Because this cellular cleaning process is happening all over the body, its failure leaves behind a really distinct pattern of clues. So let's take a look at how the body starts to reveal the presence of Danon disease.
Doctors are looking for something called the classic triad. See, the damage shows up most in tissues that are always working, the ones that need super efficient energy and cleaning systems. This means the heart, leading to severe cardiomyopathy, the skeletal muscles, which causes weakness, and even the brain, which can result in learning difficulties or some cognitive issues.
Now, this slide here just perfectly illustrates that critical difference in how the disease hits the heart based on sex. On the left, in males, you typically see this severe hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The heart muscle gets incredibly thick and stiff. But in contrast, look at the right. In females, it can show up totally differently, sometimes with what's called dilated cardiomyopathy, where the heart gets big, stretched out, and weak. And this slide really breaks down why. It all goes back to that X chromosome we talked about. Males only have one X chromosome, so they have no backup copy of the LAMP2 gene. This leads to a much earlier, much more severe disease, often with that full triad of symptoms. But females have two X chromosomes. That means the effect can be milder and show up maybe a decade later, and sometimes it only affects the heart, which can make diagnosing it in women a lot tougher.
So with all these complex and varied clues, how do doctors actually piece it all together? Let's walk through how they crack the case.
The first breadcrumb is often found not in the patient, but in their family history. A pedigree chart, just like this one, can reveal an X-linked inheritance pattern, where the condition seems to be passed from a mother to her children. Right away, that puts a disease like Danon high on the list of suspects.
Next, doctors hunt for physical evidence. An echocardiogram might show that extreme heart wall thickening, like we see in image A. A muscle biopsy, that's image C, can actually reveal those vacuoles, literally the bags of uncollected trash inside the cells. And then an ECG, as in image E, often shows a very specific electrical pattern called pre-excitation. That is a major red flag for Danon.
And finally, the case is officially closed when all these clinical signs are matched up with a genetic test. This kind of diagnostic roadmap shows that finding a disease-causing mutation in that LAMP2 gene is the definitive confirmation. All the clues finally lead right to the culprit.
But it's not always a straight line to the answer. One of the biggest challenges is that Danon disease can disguise itself, making it look like other, more common conditions. Let's see why this can be so tricky.
So here's a direct comparison with a more common type of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM.
Notice the huge differences. That pre-excitation pattern on the ECG, super common in Danon, but it's rare in sarcomeric HCM. The progression of the disease in Danon is brutally fast, while it's usually slower in HCM. And of course, Danon affects multiple body systems, while sarcomeric HCM typically just affects the heart. Getting this diagnosis right is absolutely crucial.
And that brings us to our final thought. Danon disease is caused by a single identifiable genetic flaw that leads to this catastrophic failure of a core cellular process. So, as we work towards a treatment, you have to wonder, could cracking the code for this one rare disease also unlock new insights and new therapies for a whole range of other genetic heart conditions? The answer could change everything.